What's up, YouTube? So, on occasions, in the comment section of the videos that I post, particularly about colorism, occasionally I'll have like a brown skinned, dark skinned brother come through and say, like, oh, I'm not colorist. Or rather, like, oh, if I was colorist, I would just, date a white woman or date a Latina. Um, and for me, I'm like, that's a part of it, but that doesn't completely dissolve you of the colorism accusation, in my opinion. Just because you don't date interracially doesn't mean that you're not a colorist, right? Even if you don't date, even if you date within your skin tone, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a colorist, right? Although I would say that that would be the best situation though. If you're claiming that you're not a colorist, that would be the best situation that for you to be in. All right. Where I would be like, all right, fine. Okay. You know. But I actually did a video about this a while ago. But it's pretty much a video I did entitled Light Skin the Mixed Biracial Light Skin Female Consolation Prize. Right? You know, And what I'm referring to is like, sometimes these, light skin, well, not light skin, but these brown skin, dark skin brothers, especially, will, they won't date interracially, okay? For one reason or another. They may sort of, they may not date interracially because they may feel like, oh, I'm going to be seen as a sellout. I'm going to be seen as a coon. I won't be able to invite, you know, my female and perhaps our family that we may have to the cookout. I might not be able to bring them to the cookout. Um, they might get judgment from their friends and family, like, oh, damn, man. Damn, you a sellout, nigga. Right? They don't want to deal with that, right? So for them, the light skinned mixed biracial female is like kind of like low key a consolation prize, right? Where it's like they can kind of get the exoticism that they desire, but also be able to stay within the community, right? Because it's easier to negotiate when it comes to like the biracial, light skin mixed females. We're like, oh well, she's part black, she has a black parent, right? Those are like, arguing points when this comes up, right? Oh, we all black. Oh, the black gene is dominant. Oh, the black seed is what makes you black. All that sort of mumbo jumbo BS bullshit, right? That oddly enough doesn't seem to be applied when, say, the brown skin, dark skin female is with a light skin mixed biracial man. All of a sudden, those arguing points go right out the window, and she's pretty much getting damn the bedwench treatment, and she's doing the same thing that these brown skin, dark skin brothers are doing, right? So right then and there, you already know that they on some bullshit. They know they on some bullshit, but they ain't gonna admit it though. They're not gonna admit it because, like I said, colorism, it operates, survives, and thrives covertly, not overtly. Okay. Um, but back to the topic of the video. These brown skin, dark skin brothers, brothers, right? That's an argument point that they'll present. Like, oh, if I was truly a colorist, they wouldn't really deal with black women at all. And on some level, I kind of think that there may be some truth in that. I'm not saying that, there is no truth at all in that. But I kind of feel like, okay, it's like they colorist, but there's some levels to the colorism, right? It's like they kind of, they might be at a like maybe like a 35 or 45% colorism rate versus like a 75 to 85 to 100% colorism rate, right? You know, kind of like levels to it, all right? And as well, examples in the media of dark-skinned men who are colorists, even though they have relationships or have had relationships with dark-skinned women, right? Kevin Hart. Could Trick Daddy qualify? You think Trick Daddy's a colorist? Even though he didn't mention color per se, but I'll put him on the list too. Also, Lil Wayne, you know, he's on that list. So, you know, it's not, it's just, it's like, yeah, that's a part of it, but it's more to the story though, right? So sometimes I think some females might be fooled by this, like, oh, okay, you know, yeah, you know, that makes sense. But pretty much I'm just saying, don't fall for it. Don't be fooled by this BS. Not saying that the guys who say that are just right out colorists, but you know, it's, take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it 100%. Just, you know, do a little investigation, right? Because just because they ain't dating interracially don't mean they ain't a colorist, right? And to be fair, just because you're dating interracially and dating outside of your skin tone doesn't mean that you are a colorist, right? To be fair. Yeah. Yeah. As well, I forgot to mention, but you know, those dudes who don't date interracially, they also know that, you know, especially if you're dating white, uh, there is pushback from society. They may not want to deal with having to go visit in-laws who may be racist, right? Having to, when they're walking down the street, you know, possibly being the victims of some sort of a racial attack or something, or having people throw racial slurs at you and racial pejoratives at you, and you know, having you know, your own community that you belong to give you the side eye, right? So it's like, you colorist, but you you could be just a colorist who is a bit more tactful and just a bit more intelligent about it, a bit more strategic about it, you know? I'm just saying, you know, for me personally, you know, I ain't buying it 100%, you know? I'm like, you know, let me get a sample. Let me get a sample and see how this tastes. I ain't gonna commit to buy the whole thing before I get a good sample of this shit. Alright. But that's all I wanted to say. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.